Across the country, in states like Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming, wildfires are already wreaking havoc on our landscapes. Historic drought conditions have led to gravely low snowpack levels with little hope of recovery. And an astonishing 1.4 million acres have already burned this year, which is 2.5 times greater than the 10-year average. What's truly alarming is that this has all happened in winter. As we approach the hotter summer months and what is shaping up to be a historically devastating fire year, there has never been a greater urgency to act. That's why the subcommittee will be considering important legislation today to improve active forest management across jurisdictional boundaries. Representatives Valadeo and Panetta's long-term Good Neighbor Authority Act would strengthen Good Neighbor Authority, a highly successful partnership tool that has empowered states, tribes, and counties to carry out forest management and outdoor recreational projects on federal lands. This bipartisan bill authorizes Good Neighbor agreements up to 20 years, providing greater certainty for long-term coordination and encouraging the sustained investments needed to increase the pace and scale of forest management. My home state of Wisconsin has long been a leader using Good Neighbor and is carrying out projects that harvest roughly 30 million board feet every year. The revenue generated from these projects is used to improve the health and resiliency of Wisconsin's forests and watersheds. This bill will further empower Wisconsin and other state, tribal, and county partners nationwide to do more of this important work. This work doesn't just end here, though. The Fix Our Forests Act includes additional vital improvements to Good Neighbor Authority, including allowing states to use retained receipts on road construction. These roads, which must still go through all required environmental reviews, are critical to completing additional Good Neighbor projects across the West. Given the outlook on wildfire this year, I encourage the Senate to swiftly take up the Fix Our Forests Act so we can send it to President Trump's desk. I'd also like to take a moment to highlight Congressman Crank's Public Land Access Restoration Act. This is a good bill that will restore a common sense, open unless posted closed policy to roads and trails managed by the Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management. The popularity of outdoor recreation and the demand for motorized access continues to rise as more Americans seek opportunities to enjoy our federal lands. At the same time, access has declined across our public lands as bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. chip away at motorized use and close popular roads and trails. In western states like Utah and Colorado, thousands of miles of roads and trails have been closed, which has pushed more users onto fewer routes and is limiting access to motorized recreational opportunities. I have seen this issue firsthand in my district in Wisconsin, where the Forest Service has systematically shut down roads across the Chequamegon and Nicolet National Forest. Last Congress, I held a field hearing in Hayward on this very problem, and I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into today's hearing record testimony from that hearing from one of my constituents, State Senator Rob Staffschulte. Without objection, so ordered. Ensuring that Americans can access and enjoy our federal lands has been and will continue to be a central priority of this subcommittee. Representative Crank's bill is another important step toward restoring common sense access and helping support our nation's $1.3 trillion outdoor recreation economy. In addition, by requiring that road and trail closures be justified, clearly marked, and periodically reviewed, this bill provides sorely needed transparency and accountability to federal land managers. Finally, we will turn to a bill that will help honor the 250th anniversary of the United States by strengthening efforts to conserve hallowed battlefields that showcase the sacrifices, struggles, defeats, and triumphs that have shaped our nation's history. Representative Kagan's American Battlefield Protection Program Amendments Act of 2026 is a bipartisan bill that allows non-federal partners to conserve, restore, and interpret America's most historically significant battlefields from the American Revolution, War of 1812, and Civil War. Unfortunately, despite the rich history of these sites, many have been lost over time. A significant portion of Revolutionary War and War of 1812 battles retain no significant lands from the period of battle, and over 20% of Civil War battlefields have been lost altogether. These losses demonstrate the need for this program. This bill will extend the American Battlefield Protection Program for another 7 years and direct the National Park Service to study and identify significant sites associated with the French and Indian War and the Mexican-American War. Representative Kagan's legislation will allow this program to keep American battlefields intact for generations to come, while positioning these landscapes to tell a more complete story of the nation's past. I want to thank each of our witnesses for being here today to share your valuable insights with us on these important topics. I look forward to working with my colleagues to advance these thoughtful proposals. With that, I yield back